Hey, this is Chip with the Real Dirt Podcast. You have reached yet another episode of the Real Dirt. Wow, things have been a little erratic since we're in an international pandemic, and whether you think it's a plandemic or a pandemic or the plague, it's definitely reality for people throughout the globe. And I just want to, give a heartfelt shout out to all of those who are having problems these days due to our international pandemic. The COVID has definitely, it's changed the world. It's changed us. It's changed how we do business. And, it's kind of changed how I've done podcasts. We don't have podcasts in person anymore. It's been actually kind of hard to get people to do podcasts. I've got a internet connection that's a little slow, so we've been changing our technology constantly, trying to get really good information with you guys. But today I've got, Brandon Delaney. Brandon, he's the Cultivation Director for Solar Therapeutics in Somerset, Massachusetts, and they're one of the only companies using solar power to grow their cannabis. Now, many people like myself do have supplemental solar power. At our operation in California, we have 60,000 watts of solar, I believe, and it supplements, it ties back into the grid, they call it. So we've got a bunch of panels that's sitting on the roof of a barn, and it's generating power every single day. And instead of us actually using that power, we're generating it back into the grid. So we're responsible for helping people obtain their energy needs through our solar connection. And as soon as we get our license there in Trinidad, California, we'll be growing cannabis by the sun. Ironically, they're in greenhouses, light depth greenhouses, but we're going to be powering them partially through solar power. We've got 180,000 watts over there and 60,000 watts of solar. Wow, it really does feel good to be sustainable, and I really look forward to speaking to Brandon here in a moment. It's all the little things that you get to do in your grow that, makes yourself an efficient grower as well as, environmentally conscious. And there's many things that you can do to help yourself reduce your cost, as well as being a great steward of the land. Several years ago, at one of my manufacturing plants, I decided to take it on myself to reduce my waste significantly. So I called up all of my manufacturers, all of my shippers, and I asked them all if there was any way that we could reduce our shipping and packaging, and not surprisingly, several of them said, "Yeah, that's great. The packaging costs so much. How can I reduce the packaging?" And they reduced their packaging cost. I kept paying the same price to those guys. I didn't ask them for a discount, but I tell you where I made my money was on disposable of all that plastic and all that cardboard and all those materials that were coming in. We were, dumping significantly less into the landfills. And over time, that really has paid off, and it's made us feel good. You can do all kinds of things to help any cannabis operation, be sustainable. But look at your waste stream. Look and see everything that you're throwing away in the trash. Look at all your recyclables. Look at your water. And just try to clean all those up, just one little piece at a time. We need to be the most responsible business owners in any industry because we are so heavily looked at. And I encourage each and every one of you to do just that. Decide how you can make an impact in the change, and really strive to do it as a company. And you'll see an economic advantage on that. So, without me babbling on, here we're going to get right into it. The next episode of The Real Dirt. If you like this episode and others, you can download them on iTunes, subscribe, go to Spotify. We've even got a YouTube channel now. So, love you guys, and sit back, roll up a fat one, and here's The Real Dirt. All right, here we are with the real dirt. On today's dirt, I have Brendan Delaney of Solar Therapeutics in Somerset, Massachusetts. Say hey, Brendan.
Hey guys, how we doing?
Oh man, thanks for joining me today. You guys reached out to us on our channel and expressed interest in talking to us. I'm so glad you did. We get many responses from people over the channel, and I'm always happy to talk to fellow growers. Thanks for calling us, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So man, we're kind of actually from the same hood, huh, Brendan? You're in Massachusetts now. I'm in Oklahoma now, but you kind of cut your teeth in California.
Yeah, that's correct. Started cultivating commercially, actually up in Shasta County in 2010. Ended up making my way over to Trinity County and doing some larger scale permitted farms over there before I took the job here about a year and a half ago.
All right, did you move over to Trinity Pines?
I mean, I've definitely been through the pines, but no, we
Oh,
were out in Douglas City, and I had a spot in Junction City as well.
sure. Yeah, the great little inside joke for us, huh?
Oh yeah, nothing like the pines, baby.
Oh my God, what a crazy place. Uh, Listeners, you can look that all up for yourself.
Check it
So,
out on Google Earth.
yeah, check it out on Google Earth. Yeah, if you think you got to grow, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Right. It's amazing. So you started in 2010, right? Right when it was still on the cusp of 2.0 legal cannabis in California. You started operating under the old medical cannabis rules, right?
Yeah, we were operating under Prop 215 for a couple years out there, and finally made the switch to getting actual permits. But it was a little dicey there for a little while. But as long as you're smaller than your neighbor, you're good, right?
Yeah, well, I tell you, there was a beauty of the 215 laws. Now, many people for 20 years said, oh, it's vague, it's an awful law. But man, because it was vague, it really allowed the medical cannabis market to really grow throughout California. It
For sure.
allowed so many like cities and states and municipalities to copy the law, and it also people trying to sue over the law realize, wow, it's so vague. It's really well written for medical cannabis users.
A lot of gray area, to say the least.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, in California, 1997, medical marijuana was passed with this bill called 215, and that's what me and Brendan are referring to as the 215 rules. And back then, all you kind of had to do was have like a book of patients, and you'd have like a handful of different recommendations and some letters that said that you were growing on behalf of them. And then there were some great counties where all you just had to have your own prescription, your own recommendation, and you could have unlimited kind of growth, checks and balances.
Yeah, and then you just spray paint a green cross on some plywood for the
Yeah,
helicopters.
yeah, exactly, and hope for the best. Uh, it was definitely free for all. It definitely man, it kind of tainted a little bit what was to come with legal cannabis and regulated cannabis. Man, what was it? What was the major difference you saw from going from that environment of 215 to a regulated environment? Like, I mean, you had a little baby step. First, you went to Trinity County, and then
Right.
you went over to Massachusetts, which is more heavily regulated.
Yeah, I mean, Massachusetts is definitely the most heavily regulated state in the country in terms of cultivating cannabis, which I think is a good thing. It holds you accountable for to
Yeah,
do things the right way,
absolutely, man. There needs to be some rules.
and it kind of keeps the BS artists out of it.
That is true. Well, I mean, just the pesticide usage alone
For sure.
has really leveled the playing field. And it used to be you could just spray and pray with whatever you wanted, and it make like the worst grower be successful.
For sure. Yeah. The 25B regulations are pretty intense. And it really anything other than like citric acid is for pests is not really allowed here. And they test the testing process is extremely rigorous here.
Wow.
So
So,
we're on scope for sure here.
wow, that makes it really complicated.
Oh yeah, it does.
Right. So you can't use any pesticides. Just just
Nope.
you can change the pH of the surface of the leaf, basically.
Uh, Pretty much. Yeah. Yep.
You can wash the plant off, maybe.
Yeah. 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 I mean,
You're shaking your head. It's like, I don't wait a second. I don't know if water's legal or not.
yeah. Well, it depends on what's in the water, I
So no
guess.
soap.
Yeah. No soap.
No soap. Wow.
Yeah, and they're constantly changing the regulations. But I guess that is a good thing when some of the stuff that is used is pretty
Oh,
nasty.
absolutely, absolutely, and it makes you like have to be really at the top of your game. I mean, I'm really impressed. I mean, here in Oklahoma, they've actually the way the law is written is nothing is legal. There's no pesticides can be used, but they have a really low tolerance of pesticide levels here. So the reality is you can use anything as long as no one catches you using it on the spot, and then it doesn't test below these really minimum regulations, where like in Colorado they give you a list. They're always updating your list,
Yeah,
Oregon
that they're
always
actually
updating your list.
they're introducing fifth. I believe in the next 3 months they're actually 15 pesticides or 15 substances to the banned list here in Mass, and from what I understand, is other states are going to start to accept the levels that Massachusetts is using, which is, I mean, for heavy metals, we're looking at 200 parts per billion is,
Yeah, right.
which is, there's heavy metals in pretty much everything. So,
Everything. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So do you think they're being over restrictive on some of that?
um, yes and no. So the pesticide stuff, I mean, there are some things that I feel that benefit the farmer and should be allowed, and then there's some that definitely shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, right.
That
Right.
like there's some stuff that's so widely used, and you don't even really know what it's doing to you or what it could do to you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then
Uh,
it gets in the groundwater and gets you're not just affecting your customers, and you're affecting your neighbors
sure.
um, and all that
Sure.
type of stuff.
Sure. Yeah, we use kind of some strict protocols,
Sure.
and we don't have to spray pesticides. We are fortunate enough that we can, and we use stuff biological controls,
Yeah, same
BT
here.
and some other stuff. But we, with the right application rate, knowing how to apply it, the right time, like really being able to grow your cultures of the beneficial biology, man, that's how we have dealt with it. But man, I'll tell you, some people, they have problems with that, with fungus and mold residue,
Sure. Sure.
right?
Yeah, yeah. It really makes you step up your PPE game and really have your standard operating procedures to where you're running a really clean facility. Um, you have to hold your employees to those standards, so you're not ending up pests or a lot of people uh, have their own home grows and may have mold or may have mites, and that stuff transfers it very easily. So
Right. Um, What's the is there a common pest for Massachusetts? Is there something that's difficult for people to control?
Fungus gnats pop up here pretty regularly. Been I've heard of broad mites, but I mean the main thing is PM here.
Main thing's PM everywhere almost, right?
Yeah, for
There,
sure.
it's yeah. It's not as rampant in Colorado, but drier environment. They were really forethought in a lot of sealed rooms, and
Right.
there's also a wide list of fungicides that can legally be used there. You
Yeah,
know.
we just use Procytic 2,
Mm-hmm.
concentrated citric acid,
Right.
and
Right.
we're on
Right.
a pretty strict regimen on that up until like week 2 of flower, and then we release biologicals for the end of the plant's life. Um,
Oh, release biological. So beneficial pests.
yeah, yeah. Well, obviously
Oh,
not for mold, but uh, for anything
for
else
everything
that would
else.
pop up for mites or anything like
Right.
that. Um,
Right. Wow, you guys have 1,000 lights. I mean, that's roughly 25,000 square feet of canopy, huh?
yeah, so this is phase one. We have 3 grow rooms right now and a mom room. We have 2 more grow rooms, about 245 lights in each room. But by the end of the build out, we'll be about 5,500 grow lights here, 150 in our mom room.
Oh wow, that is massive. So you uh, you guys use solar supplementation for all of this.
Uh, we do. We have a microgrid here. So part of our microgrid is a large solar field.
Right. So you're feeding back into the grid. It's an intertie system.
It is.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what we have in California too. The batteries are cool and great and all, and off grid they're awesome, but the batteries in themselves are really toxic too. And you really got to spend a hefty amount of money on to be able to be completely solar efficient, and just to be able to intertie back into the grid really makes it applicable for everybody. Everybody should be doing this.
Yeah, we have full solar on our roof here. It's a 70,000 square foot building, and then a few acres out back, solar field. But the rest of our microgrid is made up with natural gas generators. Um,
Oh, all right.
yeah.
On the site.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we create
And
all our own power here. Ed can speak to that a little bit more than me. He's a little bit
oh,
more well versed in that stuff, but
sure. Yeah, we've worked with several self sustainable people with wind generations with solar in Colorado and in Oklahoma. Natural gas is it's huge in both of those states, and so many people have unlimited natural gas usages. We've put in really huge 100,000 watt generators, it's amazing when you get the power for free, the fuel for free, what you can really do with everything else.
yeah, our units are pumping out a few megawatts here. Um,
Oh wow, man, that's great. So was this? Do you know if the solar aspect was used in order to get your license? Was that something you guys like really pushed for at the very beginning?
um, it's something that we're proud of for sure. Um,
Mhm. Yeah, I'd be proud of it too, man.
it's definitely something that's sets us aside from the other facilities in the area for sure.
Hmm. So we were just in Massachusetts. Oh man, it wasn't 19. It was like the very end of 18, December 18. Drove around, checked it out. It was just starting to come online back then.
Hmm.
Um, tell me what the laws are like and what's going on in Massachusetts.
Well, let's see. So we uh, we we started off actually as a recreational facility. We just got our medical license last week. Um,
Oh, awesome! Congratulations.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, we're all medical, even in California where there's rec. We've got medical license there, and we got medical here in Oklahoma. We just decided to stay on that side for now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. The rec market here in Mass is pretty crazy.
Uh, oh yeah, I've seen some lines.
There's definitely days where we got lines, for sure. But as far as the laws go, for rec, it's I would say it's like similar to a liquor store. You show your ID, you got to be 21, and there's a certain amount of product that each person can buy. And that's pretty much it. There's the permitting process here in Mass is lengthy to say the least. A lot of
It's limited licenses.
there are we're not Massachusetts isn't hasn't reached capacity yet.
Okay,
Uh,
right.
it's a few year process to get your license and your site and your facility permitted and for the license to actually go through.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The
I mean that's kind of how it is in most of the states, other than the good ones.
I mean the price per pound here in Massachusetts is by far the highest in the country, wholesale,
Oh yeah.
and so they don't make it.
Are your wholesale prices are other state average sale prices published? Can you say it?
Yeah, for sure. Wholesale price
How much is a pound of wholesale weed?
$4,500.
Yeah, that's pretty high. I was gonna say $5,500,
I
but
mean, some
forty
of it
five
gets
hundred is
up there.
great.
Some of it does get up there. There's not very many people cultivating licensed large scale facilities in the state.
Right.
More are coming online. Not every day, but every month there's a new one, and there's definitely
Mm-hmm.
some bigger ones being built out. Um, but we're setting ourselves up to be definitely one of the largest.
Well, man, with going into 5,500 lights, you're definitely going to be one of the largest in the country, even. So with with growing that much weed, how many different strains you guys got? How do you manage all those different strains?
So that's I ended up bringing some pretty unique genetics from the West Coast out here. Just some stuff that I had been working on in the years past. I also work with a few different genetics companies, Humboldt Seeds. I work with Symbiotic Genetics and Compound Genetics. Um, have
Sure.
some good ties there. So anytime there's some new hot stuff coming out, I usually get a pretty good plug from those guys, and we're working on right now. We've got about 26 strains here. Um, Not all of them are on the shelves. We haven't even flowered all of them out yet, but um,
Mm-hmm.
this last harvest, which we finished about a week ago, was 12 strains, um, all from the West Coast.
Right. Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. We've got some of the Humboldt seed genetics. They're Auto OG.
Sure.
We got a bunch of that going in next month, I guess.
Yeah, they got some good stuff for sure. We just harvested. We did a bunch of their asphalt plant, which is I guess they renamed it as All Gas OG, and then also their truffle tree, which both came out
Mm.
really good.
Mm.
Super gassy, pretty high on the THC, but some legit stuff.
So you guys are still looking for stuff. You still plant seeds.
We do, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Our clone room is our clone room's we're constantly germinating. Um, looking for different phenos and just to keep our menu fresh. Having a wide variety is something that really drives sales here. And I think having unique strains um, really is really appealing to some people. where legal weed is a pretty new thing.
So how do you bring those new strains in on a facility like yours? How do you R&D them to decide that you've selected this pheno and you want to bring it in? How does it start? How does it end?
So we germinate seeds. We sex them. We try not to stress them out too much. Once they're sexed, they get tagged and numbered, and then we'll flower out. We'll do maybe two lights. So two 4x4 lights is one tray.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do one tray for each pheno, and we'll take it to flower and see where it ends up. And if it's something that we like, we keep it and keep the mom, and then keep those genetics fresh.
Do you guys have a separate R&D room, or is it just go into your main room?
So we have, right now it's just going into main rooms. Like this, typically I wouldn't do 12 strains in a room. But we're really trying to find our staple genetics here. This has only been our second harvest. So, we're still kind of pheno hunting, to find those gems,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's so funny you say you wouldn't put more than 12 strains in the room. It's very West Coast to only have a handful of strains.
Right.
And then in Colorado, everybody's got 77, 80 strains.
Right.
It's just so many, man. It's just hard. It's just hard.
Yeah.
And as a grower, I just would rather have a few.
Yeah, I actually have some seeds going right now. They're starting to show their sex, from compound genetics. What they're sending out looks pretty amazing. And they're working with some of the larger breeders out there now. They also own Node Labs, which does tissue culture cloning. So they can.
Node.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know those guys. I've been trying to get them on the podcast for a minute. Dan.
Yeah,
Daniel,
my buddy
over at
Mateus
Node.
has been working there for a little while longer, and tissue culture cloning is something that's pretty new to mass. We would be one of the first that are doing it on a large scale.
You can't even get some of that stuff.
Yeah, there's some products that are used that aren't allowed in Massachusetts yet. So
right, so that'd be IBA, IAA.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, hopefully, if we start working with Node Labs full time, we'll be able to educate the state and be first doing it out here.
Well, my micropropagation has so many possibilities. You can just do so much with it. One of the problems that you always have bringing plants into a new environment is how to make it into scale, and how to bring it to scale. How to say, okay, I planted out a tray, which could be 10 or 20 seeds, and you chose one. And how do you bring that one great genetic to scale?
Yeah, I mean, we have a very large mom room here. Our mom room is 3 tiers, about 150 lights. The footprint of the room is 3,000 square feet. So when we go up 3, we're looking at close to 9,000 square foot of canopy for the mom room.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have multiple moms. Instead of having a few of each strain, we have 30.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we do the same way. 100 moms,
yeah,
not one.
Exactly. We're always filtering them out every 3 months to really keep them fresh. And that's pretty much it. I mean, our propagation team is pretty badass. We did 3,000 cuts in a day, which are rooting right now. And that will fill up our 4th room. So.
And you guys use arrow rooters or cubes or what do you root in?
We're using cubes right now.
Oh, sweet. Which Rockwool or Oasis or
Rockwool?
Yeah.
Rockwool, the 2-inch cubes with domes.
Best thing to do, man, is the best hands down product on the market. 2-inch Rockwool cubes, right?
Yeah, easy peasy.
It is for commercial operations, for large scale operations. It's just really hard to beat how easy and inexpensive it is.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I like the 2 inch cubes. I like a little better. I like the roots get a little
Bigger.
fatter than usable or
Yeah,
something
when
like
we
that.
moved here to Oklahoma, we set up a clone nursery, and this was just last year, 16 months ago or something. And people weren't used to buying clones; they were used to buying plants in 4-inch pots. So it took us
Right.
like about 6 or 8 months to like convince people, like, no, you need 2 inch. Well, I don't want 2 inch. I want 4 inch. No, you don't want 4 inch because here's 50
Wait, where's
plants.
the pot?
Yeah, exactly. And I even did that to people. I was like, oh, well, here, look, I'm going to give you these 2 inches for cheaper, and I'm going to give you the pots. I'm going to give you the dirt. You go home and do it. But they just move so much better in 2 inches than 4 inches. You can put 50 cubes in a box, and you only get 18 4-inch pots in a box, and
Right.
they last longer. You can automate the watering. You're just so many great things about 2-inch rock wool and clones. That's for sure.
For sure. Um, then eventually, if we are doing tissue culture, it'll be just to keep our moms fresh.
Mm-hmm. So with 1,000 lights, how do you guys trim? How do you trim all that weed?
So right now we're using Green Bros.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah, we got a crew that right now they're de-stemming, and then they're just running everything through the Green Bros, and the smaller stuff goes. Our lab's not set up completely yet, but the littles will go right to the lab to make hash,
Mm-hmm.
and then into rosin. But yeah, the Green Bros Model M is pretty badass, super gentle, and user friendly.
Yeah, as simple as can be. Take it apart, put it back together. Like there's hardly
Easy
any
to clean.
easy to clean. Like, I mean, if you lose something on it, you can easily replace it. And man, like those guys just really have built a great, great, great product and products. They've got some great products out there.
Yeah, their de-stemmer is pretty badass too.
All right, I haven't seen that in action. I've seen it, but I haven't seen it in action.
Yeah, it works great. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can throw live material through there to make fresh frozen, or you can buck your dry buds off and throw them right in the Model M. So it's a pretty streamlined, easy process. And that Model M does about 14 pounds an hour once they're bucked.
Oh wow, that's great.
That that's one person really, and then the trim that comes out the other side, the trim and keef is like ready for pre rolls.
Oh yeah.
A little bit clean, but it's pretty much ready for the pre roll machine.
So you guys are drying and processing all types of ways. You dry it, you trim it green, you fresh frozen it. You kind of have to do it all in a operation the scale of yours.
Yeah, we do fresh frozen. We will be doing fresh frozen for the littles. We don't trim anything green here. I like the dry trim method a little bit more. I think it really keeps
Sure.
the terpene profile, keeps a
Oh
good
yeah,
nose.
it's way better to
Um,
dry weed with leaves on it.
Hell yeah, I
Hmm.
feel you on that.
Right.
But at that scale, it's tough when you're drying a few thousand pounds every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just it's a 24/7 gig, and you don't want to speed the process up too much because then you lose your quality. And
Hmm.
there's people that are drying their product in a day
Yeah.
with heat and dehumidifiers and all that stuff, but you really lose
So much, man. You just kill it.
so much. Yeah,
You just
exactly.
kill
And,
it.
you end up with a bag full of hay.
Yeah, well, usually it's me saying that. So, Brendan, I'm glad you're saying it today too, because if you're just rushing to market to sell weed quick to make cash, that's fine. But don't claim you got the best weed, right?
Hell no. It's not all about that THC number either. We need the whole entourage effect there.
Yeah, it is. It is. So in Massachusetts, you have to list the terpenes as well as THC on the label.
No, we don't. But Solar Therapeutics will be.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing full boards on all of our flower, and we'll definitely be including a full terpene profile. But I think it's a little bit about educating the customers here about terpenes. The Massachusetts market right now is literally the product, the flower that has the highest THC number is the flower that sells. It doesn't
Yeah,
even matter
it's kind of
what it looks like, what it smells like.
it's how it is in Colorado too. Oklahoma, it's not so much like that yet. It hasn't really hit. Like people do sell weed, on the wholesale level as like, oh, it's 27%, oh, it's 32% or whatever. But the customer isn't really buying it that way. It's still so new, and it's not really enforced so much about the THC percentages. So, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I think in Massachusetts, as the market matures a little bit, like things like terpene profile and bag appeal and flower having a legit nose is gonna
yeah.
become something that more people look for.
Well, we definitely need more education on all that. And, that's one of the reasons that California and the West Coast have such great weed is because there's so many discriminating customers that call bullshit on poor weed and
Oh
that know
yeah,
what it looks like, but
yeah.
most
If it don't
places,
smell right, get if it
yeah,
don't smell right, then get rid of
then
it
get out. It's like if it's not the best up there, then it's really hard to sell it. And
for sure.
the rest of the country is not quite like that. You can still sell almost everything you produce.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll change.
Yeah.
With a little bit more education, but also like new strains, like large variety, and
Mm-hmm.
once people start to see some of those really exotic strains or gassy strains, then um,
That's what they like.
that's
Yeah.
so.
So do you guys, is it all wholesale? Do you have a dispensary?
We do. We have a dispensary on site here.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have another one that will be opening next few months. The whole COVID pandemic thing kind of put a halt on a
Yeah,
lot
no,
of stuff out
God,
here. But
everywhere, everywhere.
yeah, but we have
I couldn't find 4-inch bolts for a month.
a
It's ridiculous. I had a
oh yeah,
project I needed like 400 4-inch bolts, and I couldn't find them for a month.
yeah. I moved my cot into my office and I just posted up here for a few months. But um, yeah, we have our second location is in the process of we're in the permitting process and hopefully be open within the next few months.
hmm Um, so here's something I've been interested in is you guys are wholesale. You guys got a really big grow. You wholesale it and you retail it. What are
Yep.
the different types of preferred weed? What do you guys like to grow? What do people like to buy wholesale, and what are the retail people like?
I mean, like I was saying before, I think the retail part side of this is all about variety.
Mm-hmm.
If we have 10 strains on our menu, our sales go up. If we have two, they go down. Um,
Mm.
so keeping the menu fresh um, is a big thing. We have relationships with other dispensaries, other people that cultivate, and we have some good working relationships with some of these other people, and they've helped us out with wholesale. So we will help them out in the future when we're really cranking here.
Mm-hmm.
And also, having some of their strains in house here at our dispensaries is a huge plus for marketing and again keeping the menu fresh with what they're growing. They can keep their menu fresh with what's coming out of Solar Therapeutics.
Sure.
In
So
terms of grow, in terms of growing it, I mean, as long as it's not finicky and is resistant to mold and throws down, I'll grow it. Don't matter to me as long as it finishes in under 10 weeks.
oh, all right, all right. So the wholesale market, it's still the variety still pushes that. Uh, uh, you can still sell variety. It's not like, it's either gas or fruit on the West Coast, but
It's the same here.
it's the same
Same
there.
here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean there's some strains that I've chose to grow here, which we'll do more, like a majority of that, with the intention of wholesaling larger amounts, but also keeping some in house, but wholesaling some big chunks.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you don't have a favorite? Come on, you got a favorite.
I mean, I'm digging the asphalt plant that we just cut down. We're also doing this a cross that I brought out, which is critical mass and pink champagne. A little bit lower on the THC, but
That critical
definitely
mass
got
is
some
big.
CBD in it. Some high CBD in it, which is cool for.
Yeah.
It's pretty mellow, but it's nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We love smoking CBD, but only when we blend it with the THC.
It's that worker weed, right?
Man, I smoke a lot of weed. Sometimes maybe I don't need to be that high, so like you blend a little CBD in it, and it makes I still get the flavor, right? But
Sure.
still get to smoke a large joint, and the CBD is medicinal, so you get the great medicinal cannabinoid, without just getting obliterated stoned.
Right, right. Yeah, I actually am partnered in a CBD processing company out of Sacramento. Um, it's called the Blue Bus Collective. We're doing all different CBD products, as well as processing for some of the farmers out there.
Yeah, man, CBD's got a great place in the cannabis market. In some ways, it's really helped out THC.
Sure.
Pardon me, that bong hit was way too big. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely I believe in the blending of the cannabinoids. I believe in the full spectrum application of it. I believe in all the
Sure.
terpenes. The separation, the isolation of individual molecules is too Western for me, man. You know,
I hear you.
right? But man, I mean, I support it wholeheartedly, and we're involved with hemp seeds and hemp seeds consulting, and I've got hemp clothes and hemp stuff all throughout our lives, and we absolutely love it. But yeah, man, I'm definitely a ganja guy for sure.
Yeah, I'll get your information. We'll send you out some samples after we're done here.
Oh yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, I'd love it, man. We take and anyone listening out there, we take samples of all products, the real dirt. That can be sent to 666 Bucktail Boulevard, Denver, Colorado, 80210. We got a great rolling tray recently.
Nice, nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll send you some swag. Sure.
yeah. My guy Travis loves to see everything there, right, Travis? He's nodding right now.
Oh, perfect, perfect.
So, man, what do you see for the future here in Massachusetts and in the country? Do you see an increase in cannabis use because of current stay-at-home guidelines? And how do you think federal legalization might affect you?
I mean, I definitely see an increase in use, and I feel like as legalization moves forward, state by state, like the taboo of cannabis kind of being worn off. Um, and it's also more accessible. Like we have a lot of customers here that are a little bit older, and for them, like being able to walk into a recreational dispensary and buy a product without having to worry about maybe where it came from or getting in trouble. I think it's really opened cannabis up to a lot of people that may have
Mm-hmm.
been on the fence about using it before.
Yeah, you're right, man.
As far as federal legalization goes, I'm not. I don't really know where that's going. It seems like it will happen soon, but who knows? I
Yeah, who
mean,
knows?
um,
Who knows?
that's a tough one.
Yeah. Well, it's coming all around you on the East Coast now. I mean, you got Virginia, West Virginia, Alabama, Georgia. I mean, so many states on the East Coast are now like talking about legal cannabis.
Sure.
It's exciting to
Yeah, I mean,
see.
a bunch of our neighbors are probably hopping on board here in the next couple of years. So, but we'll see. We'll see about that.
Yeah. Well, you guys are pioneers, man. I tell you, I'll give you a salute for being one of the first there and being on the forefront of sustainable production and self generation of energy. It's just one of the brightest things you can do. Really thank you guys for putting all that together.
Oh man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sure you're an unsung hero on that, but it's it's something you got to want to do. Nobody's forcing you
Sure.
guys to do it.
It's a labor of love.
Labor of love. Oh, well, hey, I love cannabis, and I hope everyone who listens to the show loved this show. Brendan, thanks for joining me. You got any a way that our listeners can follow you guys or catch up with you if they're ever in Massachusetts?
At Solar Thera on social media.
Say that again.
It's just at Solar Thera on social media,
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, all that type of stuff. And that's pretty much it.
Oh, well, there it is, man. Awesome. Check him out at say it again. Solar Thera.
At Solar Thera.
At Solar Thera.
At
Or
Solar Thera. Or
SolarThera.com.
solarthera.com. There we go. Yeah, so check out Brendan and everything cool they're doing up there in Massachusetts. If you're ever around Somerset, stop by their dispensary and, hey, man, buy a joint and give it away to somebody when you show up.
Hell yeah.
Thanks a lot for joining us, The Real Dirt. Thanks, Brendan. Hey, I appreciate it. Have a good day, man.
Thank you.
Have you thought about a weed story, Brendan?
I've been thinking about it a little bit.
No holds barred.
I mean, hey, let me ask you this question first. This will determine. Hey, do I have your permission to reproduce this in any way I see fit?
That might change the story. I mean, I was just thinking about like the times when I first started doing this, and it really was the Wild West,
Yeah.
like hiding from helicopters, and this is when camp was still around out there, and like
Campaign against marijuana
people were getting
planting.
busted and going to jail. I mean,
Yeah, running from the man.
I got a bulletproof vest here
from the old days.
Yeah, it's from living near the Pines.
Yeah.
But,
straight
yeah,
bullets.
I mean, just it was a wild time out there, and you meet some amazing people, and like it was great to have the more conscious grower community out there come together, and you meet some amazing people out there, but I just times of like driving truck beds full of flour down the highway and
The fires.
hoping you didn't get caught. But yeah, the wildfires too.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, Trinity was just like I stayed during the evacuation, and I couldn't leave my house for 21 days.
Oh,
and
wow.
The fire got right up to the next property over, and that was the Carr fire. It ended up burning like 365,000 acres, and
Wow.
it's just you don't really sleep much, and then you get out the other side, and everybody's okay, and that's what it's all about. But
Yeah, totally. All right, so here's give me like one of the craziest grower stories you remember or like to tell from Trinity. I know you got one. I'll give you one of mine too.
Jesus, let me think about that. You go first, buddy.
All right, so right when when we first got there in 1997, we were trimming for some other people, and we went to trim with these people, and they had these other women there, and they were telling us about Humboldt. And they were like, "Oh yeah, man, you got to be careful who you go to work for because there's some crazy people up here." And she told this story about how her and another girlfriend went to work on a guy's trim farm. They went through like 7 gates, and each gate it'd take the guy like an hour, to get out, each gate. And so they get down to the bottom, and he's like, it's kind of starting to get weird. And he keeps mentioning the gates and how they'll never get out. And turns out all the gates were unlocked when they went to leave. And the guy had just been like fake locking them and telling them all these crazy stories. Yeah, there's some crazy people out there.
Oh yeah,
That's
for
a pretty
sure.
G-rated one, but there's an example.
Yeah. I mean, especially up there, it's you meet all types. I mean, I had not to mention any names, had a landowner that I ended up rebuilding his farm that was being saved, and didn't really know too much about him when I took the position, and turns out he was batshit crazy.
Yeah. That's common up there too.
Oh yeah, the batshit craziness is fucking rampant in Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
But he used to show up in the middle of the night with an AR and like headlamp on, and he would just be pretty hell bent on taking half of the product with a U-Haul in the middle of the night, and this was like a pretty common occurrence. So by the end of it, I learned just to kind of be sarcastic, which he didn't really take too well, but I mean, just stuff like that. And we had neighbors that were like definitely on the meth.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely on the meth, taking apart carburetor, taking apart engines at all hours of the night, and
yep,
like huge tent city camps up there. And it's the Wild West for sure. Parts of Trinity are still.
There's no law enforcement. I mean, in Humboldt, they would say stuff like, and in Trinity too, oh, after 6 p.m., you got to take care of your own problems.
That's pretty much what it is. And I mean, there's certain parts, especially out, near the reservations, that they don't even go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I mean, in Humboldt, like, they don't go to the reservations. They don't go to the areas with, the organized Eastern European crime gangs. They don't go to the areas with the organized Mexican crime gangs. Like, they just, previously in the past, law enforcement would concentrate on the easy pickings, usually like hippies with long hair, smoking out, trying to be Rasta.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is now is law enforcement's they're not really funded for cannabis anymore.
Oh, right.
And
yeah,
they're outgunned and outmanned up there. They don't know if they're walking into like 50 people with automatic weapons or fucking RPGs or whatever. There's some wild motherfuckers up there.
Well, hey, I'll tell you also that the police are pissed there because they can't rob us like they used to. And they would go in, and they would go in. You know how it works. They go in. They would literally rob you of all your pocket knives and tools and all that stuff. And you might never get charged.
Yeah, they take chainsaws. They take your dirt
all
bikes,
your shit, dude. And they are pissed that they can't go Christmas shopping anymore every day. Because that's how it was. Like, I got a new set of Snap-ons. I'll trade you for that motorcycle or whatever.
That's a nice new dirt bike. It must be stolen. We need to fucking take it into evidence.
Yeah, and most of that stuff never showed up in evidence. They just stayed in their pockets.
No way.
That's for sure. Oh yeah, man! I tell you, I was on the 36 at the gas station, and I'm listening to this guy talk about putting cash in his lawn, and the guy behind the gas station is like, "Oh yeah, man, you got the nice lawn." He's like, "Oh yeah, all the cash I get, that's all. I'm not gonna report it." And I'm like thinking this guy's like a weed grower. He walks out, and the guy's like, "Yeah, that's the fucking local deputy sheriff." Right, the guy's like bragging about the money he's stealing from people and how he's putting it into his lawn.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have friends that got raided, and the question that they're asked most is like, where's the cash?
Where's the
like,
cash?
Where's it buried?
Where's cash? Where's the money?
Tell me you don't have anything buried.
Money. Where's the money? Yep, totally.
Yeah, they don't care about anything else. They're trying to fucking buy their kids nice Christmas presents with other people's money.
Yeah, absolutely. 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 Well, man, fortunately with legal cannabis, a lot of that stuff is going to disappear. And the crooked cops
It
that come
is.
up there just to shake down people, and like, the crooked mentality that's, at the drug enforcement, groups and, in individual sheriff's offices and police departments, it's going to fade. Right.
I mean, it's a legitimate industry now with,
Yeah.
legit money, and it's a taxable crop at this point.
Yeah.
So it's
Right. Well, California, Northern California is the only place in the country where legal cannabis hasn't really, really benefited people yet. It's benefited individuals, but every place else, it wasn't really a cash crop already. And in Northern California, there was already the history. It was already a cash crop, and it's actually like pissed a lot of people off because they used to grow weed, quasi legally in their backyard and rake in like $50,000, $100,000 a year on the side by not doing much, and now that's all
Right.
gone. And so they're pissed, and the cops are pissed because they can't like rob you for your pocket change, And then like the prohibitionists, they're pissed because they lost, And then there's the not in my backyarders who are all good for freedom and everything as long as they don't have to look at it or smell it,
Exactly. Out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind. All right, so you got a grow tip for me? I need a grow tip.
I got you. The best nutrient for a plant is the gardener's shadow.
Okay, I'm not familiar. Tell me about the gardener's shadow and how it's the best nutrient for the plant.
It just means the more time you spend in your garden, the better your plants are going to end up.
That's right. You actually have to like hang out with them and touch them.
Hell
right?
yeah.
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 Oh, that's great, man. We've been building a ton of stuff here in Oklahoma, and the COVID hit, and we really hadn't had employees, so we just been building stuff. So, I like to build everything from scratch. For the past several months, we've built 40,000 square feet worth of hoop house. All the
brother.
irrigation. We've got a couple acres that's actually in the ground and fences. And today, I actually got to grow weed.
Nice, man.
Right.
Well, that's
Totally.
congratulations.
Totally.
There, man. I know
Yeah.
what you're feeling.
Plants are in the ground, like that, stuff's happening. But like today, I actually trellised some weed, and it wasn't just like mechanics. It wasn't drip irrigation or posts or tarps or shade or irrigation or pump or tractor or whatever it was. And
right. Yeah.
nice.
This past week we've been commissioning our Argus fertigation system. So
nice.
Yeah, it's a big one. So we've been finishing the build out on the fertigation room, and really diving deep into Argus, which is a badass company. I can't say enough good things about Argus and Argus Controls, and their fertigation equipment is definitely upper echelon.
Totally. Argus, Priva, Netafim. They're all the leaders right now in cannabis.
Yeah, we vetted out all three, but settled on Argus.
That Priva stuff's too expensive for me, man.
I guess I don't really. We were gonna work with them, but they, Argus is a little more user friendly, and it's way more scalable.
I mean, you're gonna have problems with any of it, but the Argus and the Netafim are absolutely the most user friendlies.
Right. And I mean, the support staff at Argus is fucking unreal.
Do you like them better? That's what it boils down for me to do business with people often is like, I like those guys better.
I mean, you want to do business with good people that
it's important,
that live up to what they're pitching. So
yeah, it's important. Well, hey Brendan, thanks for the gardener shadow. I think that was a great one. I like the slightly different one. Thank you.
Cool, brother.
And hey, man, I'd love to do a part 2 with your development guy on all the other sustainable stuff you guys are doing. And if COVID ever lets us get a rest, I'm going to get on the road again. I'd love to come and see you guys.
Hell yeah, man. We'd love to have you.